You are listening to the Body Charge podcast, and I'm your host, Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to the Body Charge podcast. Today's topic is cardiovascular disease is a metabolic issue that can be fixed. Atherosclerosis is the most common type of cardiovascular disease and involves injury to vessel walls, inflammation, oxidative stress, calcification, and formation of plaque. It is fundamentally a problem of mitochondrial metabolism and environmental conditions. My special guest today is Dr. Melanie Icard, the creator of the Biohacked Heart Protocol, a groundbreaking holistic system designed to help improve plaque and calcium scores, normalize blood pressure, and massively enhance quality of life. She's founder and CEO of the Butterfly Holistic Health Center in Phoenix, Arizona. So welcome aboard, Dr. Melanie. Lovely to have you on the Body Charge podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. This is a pretty big topic. So we'll go through and get a good overview in the next half hour because, there's a lot of confusing information out there about, what we can do for ourselves rather than being led by the nose down the drug and surgery path, which may not be the right choice for a lot of people. And so looking at what is it that we can do naturally to avoid that pathway and to turn things around if we started to walk in that direction. It was long thought that the culprit of plaque formation was cholesterol. And there are many doctors still trained that way, still believe that. And they think if you get rid of cholesterol, you fix the arterial blockage. But it's really not so simple, is it? What's the problem with interfering with the cholesterol in the body?
Yeah, so it's the biggest problem is thinking that you're done, healing. Like, okay, I'm on this drug, I've lowered my cholesterol, so that the biggest problem I think is that false peace of mind, and it's very boxed thinking, right? It's very zeroed in. I'll have to invite you to one of my live webinars because I draw it out, how it all ends up. But all the focus is down there on cholesterol, who is a very well-meaning molecule, right? Just like everybody, like there are no villains in the body. They just need to be in balance, right? And they're trying to tell us something. So why do we make cholesterol? It's a stress repair molecule, right? And if you start at the top of where all this inflammation and vessel damage comes, stress is always up there. So why would we want to get rid of the stress repair molecule? And if our liver, this well-meaning divine organ, is making most of this cholesterol, I think, tell me if you agree, Sandy, that your liver knows how much cholesterol you need more than the American Medical Association or whatever you guys call it over there.
Yeah, it is a purpose to everything, isn't there? And I think the challenge for us is to understand why nature has that in its strategy. And cholesterol's made from fats, right? Cholesterol fat. And fats are an insulator in the body. So from my readings, we have cholesterol sheaths around our nerves to protect the nerves. Half the brain is made of cholesterol fat. Of course, it has a lot of electricity happening up there with the electrical energy.
Right?
So we need those pathways insulated. And the nerves, the electrical nervous system is highly dependent on the cholesterol. And then there are different types of cholesterol and they have different functions, don't they? So the doctors will tell you that your HDL is the good cholesterol and LDL is the bad cholesterol. But then now there's a lot of controversy about that as well, because the LDL has its own functions in a transport system within the bloodstream, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about those differences?
Well, the thing about the LDL and the HDL is like too much HDL is a bad thing too, right? Like it's like, yeah, not enough is a bad thing, but too much is leading to more major events as well, right? So it's not just a blanket, that's a good one and that's a bad one. And in general, I wouldn't worry about having an LDL, too much. Really, I don't worry about it too much at all. But there's stickier parts that aren't I don't know about in Australia, but here they're not generally being looked for, right? So there's parts of the LDL that are stickier that we should be looking for because they can actually cause problems, but they're not generally being screened for. And those respond really well to the diet, the lifestyle, the insulin, reducing the toxin exposure and things like that. And maybe certain um, supplements, right? Like for instance, the lipoprotein A, actually, those people, that is sticky. You don't want that to get too crazy, right? They actually do really well with some flushing niacin, right? And then the apoprotein B, these are all just a mouthful, right? But that one actually does really well with the lifestyle stuff. You go back to healing the gut, detoxing, balancing the insulin. And these are the ones that we want to look at, but not freak out about. Just pivot and just add some more things into your routine. That's it.
So just going back to what you termed so well, I think, the stickiness in the
Yeah.
blood. So when we get clotting or
You,
strokes or plaques,
oh,
it's sticky bits coming together, right? Forming
yeah.
a thrombosis, a clot. And what
Yes.
causes that stickiness, from my readings, is acidity, because that pulls things together. It's attractive. So what we need for blood fluidity, where all the blood cells are bouncing off one another, is a repulsion via negative charge on the surface area of those blood cells, which means we require slightly alkaline in the blood plasmas, as in the cells as well. So that's 7.3 pH, and that little bit of alkaline helps the blood fluidity. So all those lifestyle things that we we can adopt that promote alkalinity and help recover from acidity or acidosis will help us to maintain a good cardiovascular system. And that's, avoidance of stress. The stress means that,
That's easier said than done, right?
easier said than done. But see, all that adrenaline, all those stress hormones pumping through cause dehydration and acidity. And if you're not recovering from that, if your body's not neutralizing it, there are free radicals that float around that start to disintegrate and dissolve tissue, right?
Yeah, you know what I was thinking about today too was I mean, maybe you're already doing this. I honestly I haven't watched TV in like 20 years, right? Like before my son was born, he's 22, right? I was like there's nothing good on here. I'm done
It's all
with it.
bad news.
Right. That's what I was saying, right? It's just like what's the point? And I think that cuz sometimes people want to argue with me um on the internet. I don't know if that happens to you, and they don't like that it's not just about cholesterol and cholesterol lowering medications or getting throwing
Black and
stents
white.
in your heart. Yeah, and I don't know why, but I challenge. I'm going to make a challenge that maybe if you just got off the television and the radio for 1 month, give it 30 days, get outside every day, you might be able to have a different perspective on things. Because well, I don't know, we're from different countries, but the people here that are watching the television, they're getting just power slammed with
Programmed.
stuff all the yes.
Yeah. So we're highly influenced by what we see, by our environment. So the information that comes to us by what we're watching, reading, or the people that we hang around with are highly influential on how we think. It's like a teenager at school. If they hang around with the bad dudes that cause crime and smoke behind the toilets and do all that kind of stuff, then they're going to think that's normal. And it's not normal.
Right. And well, the other thing is, if like say everybody just took the challenge. They're going to stop watching TV and listening to the radio for 30 days. They're going to be less stressed because they're not like bottle feeding themselves fear
Background
constantly,
stress.
unconsciously.
True, true. Mindset's really important, and mental health. But it's a bit chicken and egg, isn't it? It's a catch-22. So if you have a bad lifestyle and bad diet and a lot of processed foods and chemicals, you change your gut microbiome,
Yeah.
and then you get more pathogenic bacteria in there, which can cause leaky gut, which can cause toxins to recirculate in the body
Right.
that get into your brain, that make you think bad thoughts and feel
Right.
angry and aggressive and anxious or highly stressed, and you don't know where the stress is coming from. It's coming from the gut, right?
We all, yeah. So gut healing is so important, and it's definitely part of the biohacked blueprint. And I just, here's a little story. I have my son that's 22. He's autistic, right? Just a little bit, and I went into a serious depression around middle school. And I'm telling you, it was heavy. And being his mom, being a naturopathic doctor, I tried to do everything for him, and he wasn't interested in anything that I brought to him. And then one day, I couldn't believe it. He agreed to do this Tony Robbins health seminar with me, which
Wow.
involved a nutritional detox, the cold, everything, and yoga, everything. And I'm telling you, in whatever that was, like a 5-day seminar, completely reset this kid that was in a massive depression for 10 years. I mean, and so it's so important. And that's why I used to do a lot more mental health before focusing in this. And we would always have to do the detox and the gut. And just, you can't just do psychedelics and like dance to fun music, like it's a whole system. And I always tell people, because people want it to be like this one really cool supplement or like this one really cool treatment, but
Yeah,
we're a
one
system of
pill doesn't fix
systems.
all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a system of systems. So we've got to take care, of each
Got
system
to
layer
clean up
by
the
layer.
garbage.
Yeah. I've just leaned into like it's a terrain. We've got to clean up the terrain, and then what I found, and probably you found, is that the body can heal itself.
Well, we have the program, don't we? Or the DNA knows what to do. I liken it. I like to use the analogy of we're farmers, and if you want to have grow healthy vegetables, you need to make sure the terrain of the soil has the right balance of minerals, the right pH balance. It's got water and sunshine and air and all the environmental ingredients, and then the veggies know what to do to their optimal best. And it's the same with our cells, right? We
Yes.
create the bad environment, the toxicity, and often without thinking because we're programmed. We're programmed by big business to buy this package of this and package of that, and people don't really understand what's on the labels or what's in those strange sounding
Does
names.
anybody understand it? I mean,
Yeah, it's colorings, flavorings, and that now they moving away from the numbers or the numbers disguise what the product is. You can't even see if it's you know, what do they call that salt that's bad for you with a lot of glutamate? Uh,
MSG.
MSG.
Oh yeah,
Now
they
they're
can call
changing the names so that
has
it's
10
confusing
names.
on the label. I know. So it's really a minefield.
It's tricky.
Yeah, with packaged foods, and then or they'll disguise the artistic visual impact of it to make it look natural, but then it's not. It's got lots of
Right.
chemicals in preservatives, colorings, flavorings. And even tablet supplements. I've been doing a lot of research lately into how people can digest nutritional supplements, which is not very well. And it's got binders and tablet coatings and, extracellulose and all sorts of ingredients in the body has to pull apart with stomach
Right.
acid. A lot of us don't have enough stomach acid, especially if we've been under a lot of stress. And then you're partially digesting the food or the supplement. And so you're not getting the value from it. It's just going in and out of the digestive system. So people's guts are a real mess these days. And
Yeah.
it's no wonder that the cardiovascular system is showing up with problems because
Right.
the garbage, you're not getting the right nutrients. You can't fuel your detox immune system to get rid of the stuff. The liver gets overloaded, the lymph gets
Mm.
overloaded, tubes get
Mm-hmm.
clogged, and it's a garbage waste removal problem, right? All
It,
disease is fundamentally comes from that.
right. And then the newer thing, more in the last 10 years is the e-smog and the EMF radiation. And
More
I think
stress.
that more stress on the body. And what we've found through live blood analysis is that everyone's blood is a lot thicker since the pandemic.
Mm.
Everyone, it doesn't jabbed, not
And
jabbed.
they're
I mean, there's
getting
a difference, but
rouleau.
everybody's blood is a little bit
The cells
thicker.
get stuck together. They're in a
Yeah.
rouleau like that coin roll formation. And that means they're
Yes,
not
you so
absorbing
you know.
oxygen.
Mhm. Yeah.
because you need the surface area of the whole cell to absorb optimal
Right.
oxygen for
Right.
energy production.
Right, which is probably why everyone feels so good because part of our protocol is that ozone IV with the UV light,
Yeah.
which is like oxygen, oxygen, anti-inflammation. And I'm sitting on a frequency mat right now that I love. I feel the difference on it. But I was at a seminar for this company, and I saw a guy that I went to medical school with that I hadn't seen in like 10 years. And he said, Mel, I was at the last seminar and they were doing everybody's live blood. Everybody was clumped together and they put them on the mat for 15 minutes and then had them come back and it was already separating. So some kind of frequency, this seems to be really helpful these days
Well,
or even
everything
needed
is
these days.
it's a charge, isn't it? So even the how the blood flows in its fluidity and how the cells stay separated, it's all to do with electrical charge and it's connected with the right pH, that little bit of alkaline. So when you use a frequency, you're donating charge, which may be deficient. So when we say magnesium deficiency, for instance, that means the charge in the body drops when we have an electrolyte dysfunction. Usually we pee out a lot of extra magnesium under stress, which is why
Mm.
stress leads to disease and acid conditions and metabolic issues. And that hurts the mitochondria that are supposed to make our electrical energy. And so
Right.
it's a domino effect. So whatever you do in your environment that contributes to a better charge to your electrical system helps your immune system, your detox system, your liver function, all your organs, your brain. And it's also about dehydration as well. If you lose a lot of magnesium, cells lose their water, the membrane loses charge and gets leaky. And then in severe cases, you can also lose too much potassium behind the magnesium, and then that can give you a heart attack. So it can get quite serious. That an electrolyte issue can be very serious if you let it get bad enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so glad you're saying all this. I actually went to a birthday dinner last night with some friends from high school. Haven't seen them. And I'm sitting next to there was two birthday girls. I'm sitting next to one. She's 44, just turned 44, and she said, Melanie, I went to the hospital and they told me I had a heart attack. And this was like in the middle of the
Wow.
birthday dinner. So I don't know any of the background, but I said, you've got to call me, but I know just from the dinner that she's been running highly stressed, and then I'm wondering
Yeah.
about dehydration and minerals and
Yep.
and
You need the salt to hold the water in, like the magnesium salt, just to separate it from the sodium salt. So sodium is extracellular, and it creates a differential charge between the outside and the inside of the cell. So inside cells we have mainly potassium and magnesium and chloride ions, and outside the cell, sodium and calcium outside. And so they have like a competition, and that creates the charge and membrane integrity that helps hold everything in that should stay in and everything out that should stay out. Of course, when that's disrupted, you get a mixing of the wrong things coming in, dehydration of the cell, and then it's not detoxing, and then things get sticky, right? That's the cascade. Yeah, so it's about charge, it's about electrical charge. So we get that from good nutritionals, we get that from our electrolytes, from water, because everything interacts with water. We're mostly a water bladder walking around, right? So
yeah.
how we feed our water and charge the water means how we
What kind of water do
structure.
you like? What kind of water do you like?
Oh, I'm on tank water. So we have a rainwater tank and we have it
Oh,
fully filtered. And then we put the minerals back in. So magnesium chloride food grade, which is what we have at Elektra Magnesium. People can have a look at the website. So you can use it as a water supplement to recharge the water and make it just like spring water from the mountains. It's really refreshing. You can drink more without gagging because once the minerals are in the water, the cells recognize the magnesium and open up and suck up more of the water. So they have a better flush and it goes through the body more slowly. It's so interesting. And you're not peeing it out every 20 minutes. There are a lot of people avoiding drinking water because they don't want to have to go to the bathroom so often,
yeah.
but
They're
they're not
camels.
realizing it. happens with demineralized water, but not with mineralized water. And so for high-end needs, we'll also need transdermal absorption because, if you've been under stress, the gut's not working very well. Or, people on the spectrum, you mentioned autism before, they have maybe an inherited predisposition to a very sensitive digestive system, maybe
Right.
have slow motility in the gut, a lot of constipation, therefore a lot of detox issues. Or maybe they have the genes MTHFR, or maybe sulfur allergies. So when they eat sulfur containing foods, because we need sulfur to make sulfate in the body, and the sulfates help make particles smaller to transport through the blood. So waste coming out, nutrition going in needs to be made smaller, and it's usually because it's attached to sulfates. And so we need those, but people who have a problem in that genetic area have a problem converting the sulfur to the sulfate. And then the bacteria move in that like the sulfur and help them convert to sulfates, but that creates a lot of gas and bloating and a lot of digestive issues. So it can get quite complex. But then again, the solution is also simple. Where I learned a lot was from the GAPS book, Gut and Psychology Syndrome by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. She's one of my heroes in the health area. And she spent a lifetime fixing digestive issues in the autistic spectrum very successfully.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
she worked it out. Basically, it's based on very traditional methods that have been used for thousands of years to heal the gut, using meat stock, which is low cooked over a long period of time. And you put everything in. It's not just bone broth. It's the bones, the skin, the meat, the fat, the whole lot, with some vegetables. And it makes that food very, very easy to digest. It's almost half digested before you get to the stomach. Um, and very tasty and easy to chew. And so it's a very good healing diet. I highly recommend it to anyone having issues like that because, she goes through, it takes a few months, quite a few months to change the gut microbiome, but little by little you can do it naturally. And it's saved a lot of people's lives. So, uh, so back to
Yeah,
you.
I want to check that out. You'll have to send me the name of that. Yeah, I would love to check that out.
Yeah, just look up GAPS, GAPS, Dr. Natasha. She's amazing. Yeah, she has a big following for a good reason. And so that all helps the cardiovascular system. It helps every organ function in the body. It's a very holistic way. We're using food to be the medicine, or food to prevent disease, food to keep the balance in the body.
Yeah. And what we found here is what's really needed and a big part of the protocol is we've got to get the glucose and insulin into balance. So if often it's high and we've got to bring it back into the regular zone, but also we don't want to be riding a glucose and insulin roller coaster all day. So we really help people learn what's going on
Yep.
and either rein it in or get that baseline down into a healthier level, and that is key. That is
But it's not
really one of
easy.
the pillars.
It's because one of the more damaging things in our diet is the high propensity to eat carbs. We eat way too many carbs. So people get addicted to the sugars and they don't even realize white flour is just like sugar. It's treated the same way in the body. So anything you eat that's made from white flour, the breads, the pasta, all of that is
We we've
just
even
dense
we've even
carbs.
found that the white potatoes and the white rice
Yeah.
are just as bad as eating
High
a cake for
glycemic,
most people.
glycemic. Yeah. Yeah, and so when you overload the body with all that high level of carbohydrate, um, your mitochondria don't have enough oxygen absorption because high amounts of carbs produce excessive acids. So then it's hard for the body to regain the pH balance in the cell. That means that we get more fatigue, funnily enough. We eat the carbs because we think more energy, but then we have a crash. We can't
Yep.
understand why we run out of gas so quickly and then want to eat
Right.
some more. But the body then can't absorb all that extra carbohydrate and insulin, and then it goes to the liver, and then you make fat around the middle. There's the cascade,
And
right?
cholesterol and all of that. Yeah.
Well, the cholesterol, I think it's oxidized because of the acidity. I think it's the acids in the body that corrupt those tissues, and that create the fats are there to protect and insulate us, but they can get rancid in a sense, because of oxidation and free radicals. Yeah, and we haven't cleaned out the rubbish, and it's starting to fester, and you know, like fermentation
Yeah.
attracts the bad bugs.
Yeah. And what we found works really great for people because the hardest thing is just compliance, right? Information is great, but information without action is, it's not helping. So we've got everybody doing the continuous glucose monitor for at least a month. We prefer to because at first they're getting a lot of surprises of things they thought were healthy for them,
Yeah,
or just hidden. Some people,
changing is
and
hard. Mm.
of course they don't want to eat seed oils, but some people, whenever a seed oil snuck into something, which they do a lot here in the States, it'll spike their glucose,
Yeah, they put
and they
canola in
learn
everything,
that.
I noticed.
Huh?
They put canola in everything, I've noticed, almost
Yeah.
everything,
Oh
because it's
yeah.
cheap. But that's probably the most likely to be rancid even before it gets bottled. It's very
Yes.
quick to deteriorate and oxidize, which is
Yeah.
why it's so
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah. Do they do that over there, or they don't do that
They
in
do,
those?
yeah, we're just a little bit behind America. We follow like a puppy dog, very obediently. What's America
Yeah.
doing? Oh, we should do it too.
Oh yeah, not that though.
I know, I know. So we're here to put the light, shed the light on things to do where we can stay young and healthy and sprightly and not fall into the trap of disease. And it's about managing our terrain, our environment, the the stress levels, get more magnesium because not a lot in the food, not a lot in the soil. We lose excessive amounts under stress. You can take it orally or even better, transdermally. And you know, do have good lifestyle practices. Sometimes a little bit of fasting or intermittent fasting, we have a small
Mhm.
window of eating that gives your digestive system a rest to actually do its job properly,
Yeah, I
eliminate
love
the
that.
waste properly. And if you eat the right food, you're not hungry.
Right.
If you do that system, you're not craving carbs. It's wonderful.
Right. Yeah, and that's one thing too, because some people, they get down on themselves. It's not a willpower thing. It's nothing to be ashamed about. This The food was nutrient poor, and it gave
Yep.
you maybe a reactive hypoglycemia. So it's just kind of you got to just rewrite the menu,
Yep.
and
You've got to teach
it'll keep you
people.
satiated.
That's it. That's it. So it's good for them to have some coaching like yourself with your clinic. Sounds like you've got a really good education system with webinars. That's fantastic. So as we're coming to an end very soon, would you like to just finish up with a little summary and where people can find you to know more about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Melanie Icard. I'm a naturopathic medical doctor, and I specialize on helping people get off of meds that don't want to be on meds for blood pressure, cholesterol, don't want to have a heart attack or already had one and are definitely looking to get strong again or not have one again. And this is all repeatable, efficient, using holistic medicine. No actual medicine, no surgery. And we have a website. It's Dr. Melanie Icard, drmelanieicard.com. And there's a complimentary masterclass on there if you're kind of curious, like, how does this process work? But people get results in weeks, not months, not years. So it's efficient. If you work the protocol, it'll work for you.
Yes, there's science behind all of it. Everything is backed by studies. And this is what I found with my research into magnesium. And it's the master mineral electrolyte. And it's directly related to energy production by the mitochondria. So our whole metabolism, which is the power that feeds every organ, that feeds our brain, our heart, everything, is reliant on this mineral that we lose a lot of under stress. right? So
Right.
it's pretty obvious that we
Yeah.
need to feed the body more of what's lost under stress to maintain
Yes.
equilibrium, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. It's an everyone for everyone, at least for right now, you know?
Yeah, and it's very safe, and it makes you feel calm, relaxed, sleep better. So it really helps us to move into back into the parasympathetic rest and digest mode, and away from all the stress.
Yeah.
So we need strategies.
Yes, that's the goal.
Well, it's so lovely to have had this chat, and I know people will get a lot out of it. So thank you very much, Dr. Melanie.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you liked this conversation and will share it with others. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you want to listen to other Body Charge conversations, click like, subscribe, the bell icon, and click all notifications. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates on blogs, podcasts, videos, and magnesium special offers at electromagnesium.com.au. Relax, recharge, and recover.